I hereby now call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. Today's Tuesday, March 25th. It's exactly 6:30 p.m. and we welcome all of you who are in attendance with us tonight to go through our agenda. Let the roll call show that all members of the City Council are indeed present tonight, with the exception of Mayor Ron Bigelow, who is a normal voting member of this council but has asked to be excused from tonight's proceedings. For those of you following along on the agenda, or those at home on their computer or on Channel 17, item 3 on our agenda is our opening ceremony, which we take turns as council members to set the tone for this meeting. And sometimes it's a spiritual thought, sometimes it's a joke, but the responsibility of that fell to me tonight. And I felt inclined, since you might be hearing enough from me tonight conducting this meeting, that we have invited Police Chaplain Maruji to come, and good chaplain at tonight. If you would mind come up to the microphone, and the police department in our city are a bunch of dedicated men and women that do a great job, and their job description varies greatly, and we appreciate them serving and protecting us. And so, Chaplain Maruji, we'll turn the time over to you to set the tone for this meeting for us tonight.
I'll offer a word of prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we bow our heads this evening in all gratitude for the blessings that we enjoy in this wonderful community. We're grateful for our city leaders who work and serve the citizens of this community, and we are also very grateful for those who put their safety on the line each and every day to protect us and our properties. We ask you to bless all of them and their families for their sacrifice and their service. We ask you to bless each one of us as citizens, that we will strive to do those things which are right, to be guided by thee and protected by thee, and with a goal in mind to keep our city safe and a wonderful place to live. Bless these men and women who serve us, that they will feel prompted and guided by thee to do those things which are right. These blessings we pray for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain, for taking time out of your busy day to come in our council meeting, and thank you for the good work that you do with our police department. Item 4 is, as you may note, it's time set aside for special recognitions. And this is a time where we would recognize visiting dignitaries, where we have recognized visiting dignitaries from out of state, from out of the country, from out of the state, and even some of our state and local representatives. Tonight we do have a few members of our West Valley City delegation here. I'd like to point out Representative Larry Wiley is in the audience with us tonight, as well as our good Senator Karen Main, which is here. And I don't know if it seems like you signed up to speak, and if there's an item that you're particularly interested in, we can allow you to speak during the regular time, if that's okay, or be fine. Great, thank you for being here. It's not always that we do have visiting dignitaries from out of the country or in the state visiting us, and so a lot of times we use our special recognition to recognize another group that this council finds very special, and that's our scouts, because they come here to participate and to be educated. And I understand there is a scout group somewhere in the midst back here. There it is. Do you quickly, as a scout, there's a whole group there. Okay, so can you quickly delegate a boy leader to come up and introduce the group? Tell us, why you're here, what you're working on, and we also like to know roughly, what schools you attend or areas of the community you do. So, and son.
So we're Troop 758. We're here working on the citizenship in the community, and we all go to Hunter Junior.
Well, good, and you give the Grizzlies a good chance this year.
Yes.
Good to see that. Well, thank you for being here tonight. And see, I didn't miss any other recognition, so we'll move on to item 5 of our agenda, which we have a set of two meeting minutes, one from our March 4th and one from our March 11th regular meeting. Council members, those minutes are before you and up to your discretion now.
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of the minutes of March 4th and March 11th, 2014.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the March 4th and the March 11th regular meeting. Any further discussion to that motion? Seeing none, we'll ask all those in favor of approving said minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, those minutes are now approved as part of our record. The next part of our agenda is a couple, we have some special awards and ceremonies, and the first one is a proclamation declaring April 1st as National Service Recognition Day, and we've asked the council member from District 4, Councilman Vincent, to read that on our behalf. Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor Fortan. And this is appropriate for tonight because as we look out here in the audience, we do see several of our community volunteers that are out here, so this is appropriate. It says, West Valley City, Utah, proclamation recognizing April 1st, 2014 as National Service Recognition Day. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenge, and whereas the nation's mayors are increasingly turning to national service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet city needs. And whereas national service participants address the most pressing challenges facing our cities, from educating students for the jobs of the 21st century to supporting veterans and military families to providing health services and helping communities recover from natural disasters. And whereas national service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for those who serve. And whereas national service participants serve in more than 60,000 locations across the country, bolstering the civic, neighborhood, and faith-based organizations that are so vital to our economic and social well-being. And whereas national service participants increase the impact of the organizations they serve with, both through their direct service and their recruiting and managing millions of additional volunteers. And whereas national service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in the community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. And whereas national service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an investment and intensive commitment to service and commitment that remains with them and their future endeavors. And whereas the Corporation for National and Community Service shares a priority with mayors nationwide to energize citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and is joining with the National League of Cities and City Services and mayors across the country to recognize the impact of service on Mayor's Day of Recognition for National Service on April 1st, 2014. Now, therefore, be resolved that we, Mayor Ron Bigelow, and the City Council of West Valley City, do hereby proclaim April 1st, 2014 as National Service Recognition Day and encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of national service in our city, to thank those who serve, and to find ways to give back to their communities.
Thank you, Councilmember Vincent. The next item is going to be the presentation of our English Achievement Awards. From time to time, we like to, as a City Council, recognize and give a hearty handshake and a certificate to those who have decided to dedicate their time into becoming proficient in the English language. So I see a number of people have grabbed their certificates. If you're here for one, they're out at the table. Make sure you don't leave without it. But who is here to receive their recognition for English achievement today? Would you please raise your hands? Okay, what we'd like you to do, as we have a couple of it tonight, is we'd like you to come up to the microphone and tell us your name. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. A lot of times we've had it where we talk about maybe a country of origin that you come from. And so you'd have those couple come up and just form a quick little line over here by Councilman Vincent. And nobody wants to go first, but I promise you that...
Come and stand right there.
Do I just say your name and where you're from?
Anyone else receiving their English language awards tonight? Okay, well...
Lillian? Lillian, go stand up there.
Hello, my name is Lourdes Nancy Cruz, and I'm from Mexico. And here is my family, my daughters, my granddaughter, and I'm so happy. And I have to say thank you for my teacher and the school. They give you opportunity for we can choose the second language is English. It's more important for me. But in the past, I can do that because I have to take care of my daughters. And I'm so happy right now, and thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Florida Cabora. I'm from Africa. I born in Tanzania. I live here 7 years, so I have too much work. I learn English, but now I pass citizenship. I have to work hard. I want to speak more and reading and speak loud. Now I practice, but it's better. Thank you. I want to learn more.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Jorge Espinosa. I'm from Mexico City, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to learn English as a second language. I've been here for 30 years, and in the past I didn't have, the opportunity to go to school, but now I do, so I can get a better job and get something better for my family and for my community. Thank you.
Congratulations. One of the things in English class, do they teach you the difference between soccer and football?
Hello, my name is Lilian Martinez. I'm from El Salvador, and I belong in the third grade in the level 3. I am happy for the teacher. I am happy. I'm sorry.
You're doing great.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Daisy. I'm from El Salvador. I'm happy for English. Happy for my teacher.
Good evening. I'm sorry, no speak English. My name is Julio Guerra. I am from El Salvador. My teacher, very good. No más.
So I have a couple more. While maybe we're waiting for someone else to come up, everyone has mentioned how great their teachers are. Are there any of the teachers that are here in the audience tonight?
None of our teachers.
Another teacher here? Well, you all let them know just how much they important are, because we love teachers here in West Valley City, so thank you. Next, please, we're just having you come and introduce yourselves. And
Ana Liborio Sorosa.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Avelina. My phone is Mexico.
Thank you. Thank you for Yeah, what we're going to do now is, if you'll come through, we all want to give you a good handshake. And then when you're done, let's just stand right here in front of the dais, and anybody that wants to take pictures can. Thank you. Thank you. We love to hear all of the good English that comes into this council meeting by our English-speaking students. And, council members, is there anything that you would like to say to address this good-looking and very well-spoken group of English language award tonight?
If I could, Mayor. I want to congratulate those that are here, and I hope everybody will look and notice as you leave. There are many more that we're recognizing tonight that for one reason or another were not able to be here. Their names and their certificates are out in the hall. Many people have to work these hours. West Valley City is a place where we welcome people from all over the world to come and pursue the American dream. And we believe that part of that dream is being employable and being able to educate your children and being able to receive good health care and being a part of your community and communicating with your neighbors and understanding them and understanding each other and building our community and making it stronger. And the only way to do that is by all of us speaking the same language. It's not really fair to ask somebody from Cambodia to come here and learn Spanish or somebody from El Salvador to come here and learn Vietnamese. So we have a common language, which is English, which is the legal language of our state, and we ask people to learn that. And when they do, they're happy. We can tell that you're happy, and we want to congratulate and celebrate with you. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, Councilman Gula, for that. And again, we appreciate all the families of the award recipients tonight and those receiving awards for being here tonight. And we do have a very full agenda tonight, and you're welcome to stay and see our city government at work, but we also understand if you want to slip out at some point to go celebrate and be with your families, that we won't take offense to that as well. So thank you for being here. Item 7 on our agenda tonight is our comment period, and this is a time that we've set aside for comments to be made, to be brought forward to the City Council, where we can receive input and to learn of things going on within our community. Consists of 3 parts. There's a public section of it to where there was a sign-up sheet, which several of you did sign up for on the way in. And so we'll get to that. It's limited to a 30-minute period by our rules, also 5 minutes per speaker. And so we'll try to, with many signed up tonight, we'll try to keep everybody within those limits tonight. However, we also have tonight a public hearing, which is on application ZT-1 2014, which is text amendments to our household pet amendment. And if you've come to speak on that, there is a separate time without restriction that you can address the City Council on that. So if I come to your name during the comment period and you do want to speak on the on application ZT-1 2014, and which is item 8A, and the corresponding action is ordinance 1419. We probably ask that you hold on to those comments until we reach that point of our agenda to where we can better package that discussion all into that. If you're here for anything else that's is not the household pet ordinance tonight, then we'll go ahead and hear those comments now. And then after those comments, we have allotted time for our city manager, which Mr. Wayne Pyle, which is joining us on the dais tonight, which he may or may not make comments to anything brought up or anything else he might have, and then we leave the time for the city council to maybe make comments if they so wish. So I have a number of pages here of city comments, and some people have signed up 3 times, and so they really must want to speak. But we'll go through the top, and the first one is Mr. Brad Knoll.
So many things to carry out all the time. I thank you for the opportunity to come and speak today. Sorry that we've been so long getting back. I know that there's a number of issues that take place behind the scenes that sometimes are invisible, but in the plan approval, we've been working on those issues at the Georgia River Marketplace. And we're in a position now where we're ready to submit the building permits within 30 days and get construction going really quickly here. We've been working with UDOT, with Parks Engineering, and we're at the final red line of approval there, and we had to complete a new traffic study as a part of that. That's taking place. We have the completed civil drawings. We're ready to submit. The final red line just is set here. The engineer Dale Bennett's here to speak on that as well. One of the unforeseen conditions that we found since we were here last was the cathodic protection line, which ran through the site, actually through 2 of the buildings. So we had to work out with the gas company rerouting of that cathodic protection line, and of course there's some considerable expense to that as well. But that's well along the way to being ready to go. We have worked with West Valley City and given them new easements and worked with them on storm drain relocations and overall plans that benefit West Valley City, and of course that required that we redo some of our storm drainage so it was compatible, and that's taken care of. We have elevations nearly complete on all buildings for the project, and all of the first retail hub buildings, buildings C, D, and E, are all the elevations are complete. Floor plans are complete. The leasing has gone really, really well for a project that doesn't have anything in the dirt yet. Buildings C, D, and E are to the point where they could be under construction and enough that the banks are ready to go. You know, they've got more than 50%. One building is 100%. One is only got one space left in it. The other one is over 51%. So those 3 buildings are ready to roll. Granger Hunters reviewed all the utility plans. We're on a final red line for final approval with them. Our realtors are here. Tracy and Michelle Brown, they could talk to you more about some of the leasing activity. There's a lot of lease activity, a lot of people that are very interested in being a part of this project and a part of celebrating the cultural differences and diversity within the West Valley community. So it's really an excellent thing that we see going forward. Rocky Mountain Power lease has been all but fully executed. I think they should have the rest of the signatures on that within a week. They actually said they'd have by last Friday. They didn't make that, but we should be really, really quick. And we've got Mike Winder helping us with some of the recruitment effort as well now, and that's working really well. And we have submitted for the rezone on the parcel that is to the north and the west of the pond, which was originally zoned for residential, and we've gone to more of a multifamily or more of a similar zone to the rest of the project. That's what we've asked for. We've completed all the geotechnical work and all the things, all the hairy leg lifting that you do behind the scenes that doesn't look like anything's happened. That's what we've been working on in the past months. And we look forward to having a wonderful project with you and look for your support tonight. I stand around if you have questions later, now or whatever.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Seeing as how we do have 4 pages of that, how many of you are here to express some type of comment concerning the project that our first speaker, Mr. Knowlton, expressed today? Just raise of hands. Looks like side of the room, and a few others. Okay. So as we have 4 pages, we just ask that you try to keep your comments to new information so we can get through as many as possible on this. And so just moving quickly through the list, we have Dale Bennett. He's here.
My name is Dale Bennett with Benchmark Engineering. I am the engineer and surveyor for this project. A lot of challenges, like Brad had pretty much mentioned most of the challenges that we've had, beginning with the survey and finding the cathodic line for Questar, the location of the sewer lines, the storm drain. We're working with, Ben Hunter, West Valley City on the storm drain. They had a few changes that they were making, and we incorporated our storm drain system to line up with what they had proposed and to tie into the system there. Been working with, talked this with Steve Dale in the engineering department on a number of occasions to talk about the drainage and the storm drain and where the Jordan River's close, and just coming up with the issues there. We've had a thorough discussion with the Granger Hunter, met with them several times, and like Brad was saying, they've got a few more really minor comments, and that's basically approved and ready to go, as well as the UDOT information. They had one comment on the last go around, and they're ready to go. So we've spent an enormous little bit of paper here, 27 sheets of engineering drawings and subdivision platting, and I just wanted to emphasize that we've been working on it continuously from basically last summer, the last fall all the way through until now, and trying to get it to where it is now. So anyway, thank you if you have any questions.
Thank you. Okay, Russ Naylor.
I apologize, I'm actually Ryan Naylor. Russ Naylor is actually my father. He's a member of the South Jordan Planning Commission.
Okay, Mr. Naylor, then, just for our records, we need name and address for the records.
Ryan Naylor with Nichols Naylor Architects, 1155 East Wilmington Avenue,
Thank you.
Salt Lake City. And I'd just like to, tell you how excited we are to have the opportunity to work on the project with Brad and the Ascent team. And look back at our records, and we've been working on the project for 4 years now, and it's been an exciting process to go through. And in the last few days, there's been some concerns about the level of quality of the project, that it was looking a little bit like a standard strip mall. And there's a number of features that we've gone through many rounds of site plan revisions, and I think this final site plan, as you can see out front here, that we've landed on is a really good compromise between from the leasing perspective and from creating that kind of village atmosphere that we're trying to get here, that can be a gathering place for many different cultures of people to come together and enjoy this amenity. The Ascent guys are committed to providing that level of quality in the materials and the buildings. I've been really committed from the start about making sure that the end result be a project that the city and that we as the architect can be proud of, and we'll keep making sure that bar is set high, that the end result will be something that everybody can be proud of. So appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Next one is Bob Murray.
Good evening, Bob Murray. I'm with the Jordan River Marketplace LLC, 25 South Main in Centerville. Mayor Pro Tem Rushton, City Council, Mayor Pyle, we're so excited to be here. We were passionate from the very beginning of this project, and we haven't lost that passion even today. One of the many things that I've always loved about West Valley City is attending Hale Theater. Many of you have attended Hale Theater. I've gone to many shows there. In fact, I've been in many plays myself. I was Oliver and Oliver. And I've always appreciated all that the heavy lifting that has to happen in order for a show to really happen. All the costuming and the learning of scripts and the music and the late night rehearsals, the blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of work. As you've heard already, we've done a lot of the behind the scenes work that you probably haven't noticed. And we're ready to open the curtain on the Jordan River Marketplace. As Brad mentioned, everything is in place. It's locked down. Our financing, we've already talked to Bank of Utah, with Golden West Credit Union, with Zions Bank, with Bank of America and Fork. They're all very anxious to finance this project, and with your approval, we'll start the appraisal on this project, and we'll get the financing underway, and should have that in 30 to 40 days. Of course, at that point, we will finish our construction drawings, which will, the architect has told us will take about 30 days to finish construction drawings. And then we'll work through the city process to start the construction. We're wanting to start construction in early June. We've been so excited, too, as we've met with different restaurateurs and different business owners. We've tasted some great food, and we've negotiated leases. We've just had a great time meeting with them and being with them. They want to be at this destination place, and we want them to be here. This will absolutely be the crown jewel of West Valley City, and no other city in the state will have it. West Valley City is so fortunate. We have several leases in place. Let me just go through some of the ones that we have in place already, and we're going to mention some names tonight because we're very proud of what we've done. Couscous Restaurant out on 54th South and about 9th East. Maybe you've attended this restaurant and been there. They're very excited about being here. The Homemade Chinese Seafood Restaurant wants to be here. Bagaki Barbecue wants to be here. Curry in a Hurry wants to be here. Pierre Bakery wants to be here. House of Tibet wants to be here. We have lease agreements with these people in hand. That gets me excited. I don't know about you, but it gets me very excited. We are ready to start on building C, D, and E. And those are really the heart of the development. We have over 20 other businesses and restaurants that want to be at this location. And in addition to that, we have quaint little ethnic boutique shops that'll follow right after we start construction. We've got beautiful promenade that we'll have going through the center of this development. Fountains that'll cool the kids during hot summers. Carousel, walking trails, the farmers market. We know this has taken a lot longer than we wanted and that you wanted, but we're ready to get going. I'm really proud of Mountain West, Tracy, Michelle Dong, for their hard work in getting us to this point. Benchmark Engineers, Nichols Naylor Architects, Horrocks, Wayne Pyle, Nicole Cottle, thank you so much for your support. Granger Hunter, UDOT, Steve Pastrick, just so many others that have gotten us to this place. And City Council, we want you to be by our side when we have a groundbreaking at the beginning of June. We want to have a groundbreaking, a grand opening, and we're going to partner with Alan Anderson to make this happen. He's already promised to make that happen with us. And we want you to be by our side to view the grand performance of the Jordan River Marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Alan Anderson.
Good evening. Glad to be here with all of you honorable council members. My name is Alan Anderson. I'm President and Chief Executive Officer of Chamber West. We are the Chamber of Commerce for West Valley City, Taylorsville, and Kearns. And I think besides Nicole Cottle, no one is more excited about or concerned about a strong growing economy than us. And this Jordan River Marketplace is going to be the economic engine for that gateway into West Valley City. As you know, we're currently across the street at the Village at River's Edge, who invested $30 million there at 12th West and 33rd South. And what a great tie-in that the Village at River's Edge, the Jordan River Marketplace, and the Cultural Celebration Center will have there as a gateway to the city. The New York Times recently profiled the explosion of a demand for ethnic food, which according to them now accounts for $8.7 billion of the nation's economy. And this is going to be a great opportunity to showcase the diverse population that West Valley City has in the marketplace as they enter West Valley City. We are excited in June, as I've talked to Bob, about having our 13 gold shovels that we have at the Chamber to be on site for a groundbreaking the first part of June. And I should also tell you that we as a Chamber of Commerce are committed to this project. We recently signed a letter of intent to be there and still negotiating, so I can't say that we have a signed lease yet, but we have definitely a letter of intent. And we're very excited to be part of the farmers markets and craft stores that will be there, the parades, festivals, and concert series that will be there at the Cultural Celebration Center. We're glad to be part of West Valley City. And so I just want you all to know that I am very supportive of this project going forward. Thank you.
Okay, the next one we have is Gundi Jones.
I'm falling for you.
Hi guys, you know me. I'm Gundi Jones. Reside at 4396 South, 3200 West. And I felt right at home here today with international meeting because I'm a little French sauerkraut, so I'm here in support of the Jordan River Marketplace. I'm representing also our parents, Lucille and Ivan Jones. Dad is going to be 95 this year. Mom is going to be 85. The only concern we all have, of course, is it's not going to be part of this right now, but everyone that I've spoken to is against high, deep density, high-rise apartment or even 3- or 4-story apartment to be any part of this. If there's a development, we would really welcome townhouses or condos, something that fits into the landscape. But in support of this, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's wonderful. Still, do you remember me from the spa retreat? I don't ever let go of anything. I'm hanging on with my teeth, and I'm waiting for the opportune time. At the time that we were going to build it, we had our financing in place. My husband became very ill, lots of medical expenses, so we postponed it. But one of the questions that every financial institution asks me, of course, is, you're going to have this really beautiful building there, and what's going to be with the rest of it? What is there to complement it? What is there to tie it in? And of course, what was tied in were, some transients that every so often come across the field and use the water, and that wasn't really conducive. So I am very excited about this. I'm in support of what's going on right here. My family is my partner, who's my son and my husband. Well, sometimes I let him have a word or two. So we would like to voice that we're really excited about the project in the beginning of it. And just, I know that there's been a concern about time, but being European, you know what, if you want to do something of quality, sometimes you just have to give it a little bit extra time. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next was Joe Garcia.
Hola, mi nombre es Joe Garcia y mi dirección es 2781 South Central Brook Drive. English is my primary language, but I wish I was fluent in Spanish. I grew up in Midvale, and I just wanted to speak today to talk to you about my support for this project. A few times throughout the summer, we park in Taylorsville. We ride our bikes down south to Midvale, and we go to Gardner Village, and we make that our primary destination for recreation. I would absolutely enjoy the opportunity to guide my family from Taylorsville for a bike ride up to West Valley City, to the Jordan River International Marketplace. The vision that I see for this is that it brings so much more value to what we have to offer here. When you are developing as an individual, you ask yourself, what am I good at? What's unique about me, and what do I have to offer? And I think that is, for West Valley, our diversity. And I think the Jordan River International Marketplace will bring all of the residents of Salt Lake Valley, Salt Lake County, to West Valley to see what we have to offer and to show them a different dimension to what we have here in West Valley City. We have so much tremendous growth, so much undeveloped land, and I think this will be the proper tie-in for a multicultural center. And a lot of people will have that on their maps for their recreation, their destination, and for some family fun. We have so much to offer, and I can't wait to see this project move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then it looks like Karen Main.
Thank you very much. Hello, neighbors and friends. I've come tonight to speak on two things. The one thing that I think I've always strived to accomplish in West Valley is to be a city of destination. And I think we are a mobile community, and I think we've always had to fight that. And I think what you've done in 5600 and all the portals of West Valley's really put that component together for us. This is why I've come to speak. The decision is yours, and I trust that tonight. But I just wanted to bring into view our neighbors and our friends that say to us, well, we want to go out to dinner, let's go to Salt Lake. We don't want that enemy. We want West Valley to be the city of destination. So we stay in our communities. We don't go to Jordan Landing. We don't go out of it. But everything is here. We are a big city, and we can accommodate everybody with anything they want to do. And the other thing I wanted to speak about is jobs. We need to employ our people. And if we have something here, and whatever we build here, I hope that it's employment for us. Because if people work and they're busy, they pay taxes, all those good things. So I appreciate you letting me come to speak to you. And those are the two things that are paramount when I make decisions. And I hope that you will consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Mike Winder. I know you have an automatic 5 minutes just in your head, so.
Not that good. Friends and former colleagues, it's great to be here with you today as yes, a past member of this body, as mayor and council member past member of the staff in the Economic Development Division, but as a current friend and a current neighbor and a current advocate of West Valley City, a forever champion of West Valley City, as you know, and a current consultant to the Jordan River International Marketplace project. You know, we've heard tonight some great reasons from a broad variety of community members on why now is the time, this is the place to get finally going on the Jordan River Marketplace. As I've been working closely with Bob and Brad and their team the last few months, I was actually pretty amazed at how far along they had gone and how much below the surface has happened since that May 14th vote last year when we finally came together with a plan that they were good with and that we unanimously were good with. To think that they've been resting on their laurels since then is not the case at all. They have been very busy and their team's been very busy. As I've talked to people in the community about this, I have yet to talk to someone who is not thrilled about this concept. And as they look at the plans, as they look at the 3D fly-through on YouTube about the Jordan River Marketplace, they say, wow, we could have that in our city? And the answer is yes, we could. And the thoroughbreds chomping at the bit and ready to go. And tonight we just need this council to open the gate and let it get going. We have talked for years about the Jordan River Marketplace. As a young staff member 15 years ago, I remember walking with Dr. Bob Buchanan out on those empty fields, and he had that vision of the Cultural Celebration Center, and then there would be an international marketplace that would be a retail complement to what was going on at the Cultural Center. That's what this Jordan River Marketplace is. And to end it now and to hit the reset button on it now and to go back 10, 15 years in our city's history is frankly painful. It's would be very painful to watch that happen. So I encourage you to support this. There are still a lot of controls the city and the RDA have over this project in the years to come. And so the quality will be there. I'm involved personally and will personally fight to make sure there's a quality development in our city. There's 5 increment payment years left on the RDA. Let's not waste those with analysis paralysis on a different project. As you remember, it took us years just to come up with that vote of May 14th when we finally had a concept that worked, that had a pedestrian walk-through, that had retail shops, that had visibility both from the street and from the little village atmosphere. We can do this. We can have the Jordan River Marketplace here in West Valley City finally. This phase 1 is a $12 million piece of it. And if we get the green light today, you'll see us back here in a few weeks, frankly, with other phases because we have other people that close to signing leases and getting ready for the financing. And so to have $8 million on the ground by September is realistic. Will an extension be needed for a few weeks or a few months? After that, maybe, but maybe not. The construction company is also the developer in this case. The civil engineering is 98% done. All the permits from all the utilities, they've been working hard, and those will be done within the next few weeks. They're ready to rock and roll with this. Let's give them a chance. Years ago, we promised the village at River's Edge, oh yeah, there'll be a great international marketplace on the other side. And the Colosimo family put 30 million odd in there to that development. That's been blown in the wind by itself, waiting for that complement across the street on the north. We got to get going with it for their sake, for the larger business community's sake. I humbly ask you to consider giving Ascend a chance, making it happen. They've been working their tails off since last May and getting this together. Even with the obstacles that we've uncovered along the way, they're willing to meet those head on and not incur that cost upon the city. So again, I ask you when we get that item on the agenda to please support the Jordan River International Marketplace. And if you have any questions, the team of experts that you heard tonight will be here to answer any questions, so if there's anything at that point in the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, for the time, and good to see everybody again. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we're rapidly running out of time, but I know we have minutes left for a few more speakers. Again, if I call your name and you're here to speak regarding, and let me get it right, just so there's no confusion, application ZT1 2014 requesting an ordinance text change for the definition of household pets, allows chickens as household pets, and addresses inconsistencies in the code with animal control ordinance, that you hold those comments till we get to that item for the public hearing. Okay. Gloria Van Sulen. We'll hear from you then. Gerald Everett.
Residential chickens.
Okay, we'll hear from you then. Leanne Miller. Leanne Miller has left the building. Okay, Dan Potts.
Appreciate it, guys. I'm the opposition. I think we've given.
And sir, we just need your name and address. I can't quite read it here.
Dan Potts. Yeah, it's. I'm not a resident of West Valley City. I just represent wildlife interests, and I'm the immediate past president of the Salt Lake County Fish and Game Association, one of the oldest, well-known nonprofits in the state of Utah relative to wildlife. And I'm the author of the Fauna of the Jordan River. I just feel like we've given this developer freebie a chance to kind of follow through with this thing, and now we've defaulted on that, and so now we have kind of insult to injury. They want more. They want more development. I'm just not quite sure how much more concrete, steel, asphalt, and glass we really need in West Valley City. Seems like this city's got quite a bit of that. For instance, do you guys know that we have a herd of deer on that property? Well, as a wildlife expert, that'll pretty much nix that herd. I think our children's children will probably remember things like wildlife far more than they will this particular money-making opportunity. It takes a lot of courage to make a decision. I understand to move in that kind of a direction rather than stores and things like that. So anyway, I'm just an advocate for wildlife and the connectivity with that particular parcel and the one adjacent in the corner, and then down the river to the Redwood Nature area would be highly significant and would be something that our children's children would surely remember more than this thing. So hey, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. David Park.
Waiting.
Okay. Pete, I'm going to slaughter your name, Trebesh.
Close enough. Chickens.
Okay. Irene Jensen.
I'm here on the chicken.
Okay. Eric Farr.
Waiting.
Okay. Elliot Mott.
Good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. This is my first time here, so I appreciate this very much. I'm here to stand up for the Jordan River Corridor in generic terms. More specifically, I'm here to request that the city embrace the corridor and preserve and protect it. Think what New York City would be without Central Park. what Dublin would be without Phoenix Park, or what San Francisco would be without the Golden Gate Park. What does West Valley City have? Think in those terms. Now consider the potential of the Jordan River Corridor. This wonderful riparian channel on our eastern border running the length of our community. Relatively undeveloped. Other communities in this valley have developed down to the river's edge. What do they have to show for it? West Valley City is a relatively new city. We don't have to make the same mistakes other people made. I urge the Commission to appreciate the natural values of the riparian channel, wildlife habitat, the recreational opportunities, the nature preserve aspect of the riparian channel. It seems to me making the Jordan River Corridor a showpiece would be a noble enterprise. West Valley City doesn't have any comparable landscape to work with. We only have one river, happens to be our border on the east. Furthermore, America and West Valley City has a obesity epidemic. Doesn't it make sense to do everything we can do to advance recreational opportunities for our citizens? And don't those opportunities trump and provide a better ROI than any other development now and in the future? I therefore opine that the Jordan River has a much greater value for the citizens of West Valley City as a natural nature preserve than any other development could afford, now or in the future. West Valley City is a relatively new city. Let's take this opportunity to preserve and protect the river corridor for our future, for our children's future. Give us something like New York City has in Central Park. The potential is there. It's a wonderful piece of land. Let's make natural lands a showcase for our citizens to enjoy and for other communities to be envious about. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. My clock has 2 minutes remaining in our comment period, but we'll see as far as we can get and what the council wants to do. So the next one is Mr. Fred Cox.
You see one?
Okay. Michaela Sander. Okay. We're on that. Mr. Mike Markham.
I'm good at chickens.
All right. Gary Farrer.
Ordinance.
Okay. That one was a duplicate. Anna Welch.
I'm for chickens.
Okay. And Anna Welch again. We've heard from Ryan Naylor. We've heard from Gooney Jones. And so Larry Wiley. We've heard from Joe Garcia.
Good evening, Council, Mayor Pro Tem, Larry Wiley, 1450 West, 3300 South. I have a neutral position on this, and I think there's been some good comments, some good dialogue on both sides. The community I represent have been very vocal, as you know, with regards to some other ideas, and I think they're at a point where it's a trust issue at this point in time. Do we trust what's going on over there? That's basically why I'm here tonight, is to ensure that the process is followed completely. I agree. I grew up in that area. I was born and raised in that area, and the open space is very, very nice. And I think it has merits. The Jordan River area, the Jordan Walkway, and so forth. It's a beautiful area to be developed very nicely. And as you mentioned, there are deer, wild deer in that area that frequently come over and chew my wife's flower garden, which is not a good thing, but we love it. It's nice to wake up in the morning and see one or two head of deer in your yard. It's kind of fun. But on the other side, I think the conceptual drawing that Mr. Winder showed us is pretty fascinating. It's pretty nice. And, could do a lot for that area. But it's got to be done right. I think planning is going to be critical. As mentioned before, we're very concerned about high density or even very high density housing going in that area. It's a gateway into the city. We want to maintain that as being a pristine avenue for people to come in and visit the city, not run into high-density residential housing. It just does not set well with me, and I think that's something to be considered as well. But I think we're neutral in this. We could go either way, and we just want to see it done right. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. That does conclude our public comment period. We'll now turn to our city manager to see if he has any comments tonight on anything he's heard or anything going on in the city.
Nope, sir, I'm good tonight.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Council members, now is your opportunity to voice anything that may be on your minds at this point. Okay, seeing none, then we will move past our public comment period and move into our public hearing, and we'll ask our city manager to introduce application ZT-1-2014, requesting an ordinance text amendment and the associated action ordinance number 1419 for our consideration, please.
Thank you, sir. So we had a request by the council some time ago to look into cleaning up some inconsistencies and addressing possible changes to our ordinance that defines household pets, their use and their keeping. I was going to say storage, that's not the right word, keeping here in residences and places here in the city. So the staff has prepared that, and it spent some time with the council in both presenting and gaining the council's perspective on what that should include, and so it is before you this evening for consideration.
Okay. Now open the public hearing regarding application ZT-1-2014, and if it's okay with the council, we'll just maybe continue on the, let's see, try to be the most efficient with this, but we'll start with the list, and we'll ask Gloria Van Slulen just to come up, and we'll start with you. And again, normally we ask for name and address at the start of this, but everybody has filled that in, so we have that for your record.
My name is Gloria Van Slulen, 3622 South, 4840 West, here in West Valley City. I live at lot 81 in Westwood Terrace, number 4 subdivision. The paper that I'm giving to you right now is from my title deed that was given to us at the time that we signed our property. And I have marked items I and J and M because it was to be about these pets. Not pets, but farm animals. And it is saying that no animals, bird or fowl, shall be kept or maintained on any part of said property. And then it goes on down, and then part M at the bottom is saying that under these conditions, that this would be in force for 40 years from the date these covenants took place. And I thought that since I am a retired school teacher, and they always call me the chicken lady, that I thought I would let you know how I handled it. I contacted the Utah State University, and they brought down the eggs for me to hatch. And so we did it in my classroom each year for over 20 years. And so we had the children be able to know how they were to take care of the chicks, how they had to feed them, water them, and take care of their poop. And so they had to clean the cages on the beginning of the day and at the end of the day so that they would know. And all of them always said, I don't like that smell. And so that was part of their experience with the chicks. The next thing is that I have had an experience, I think it was about 1.5 years ago, when the West Valley City said that they were not having the chickens. And that was fine with me because my neighbor, who did not want to obey the rules of West Valley City, came about and proceeded to build a chicken coop, and we let it go on, and finally at last my husband said, this is enough, the smell is too much. And so we contacted West Valley City people, they came out, and from my deck they could smell, they said this is awful. And so it was not a nice situation. The lady found out who I was because she came to my door and said, are you the person that contacted the West Valley City Police? And I said yes. And with that, she was very indignant, called me every name under the sun, and said that I was not a nice person, that I had taken away her freedom away from her, And I said, no, you have taken yours away from me, and I asked her to leave my property. She also threatened me with physical damage to my home and to me and to our property. So I wanted you to know that I am not in favor of these chickens to be in our neighborhood, and I live in a city, not on a farm. That was another thing that Utah State University said that we had to do, was that in order to have the chicks there at my school, I had to provide a farmer who would take them, and they always gave me a list of who it could be. And so we do not live in a rural setting. We live in a city, and I want you to be aware that we still want to live in a city. Also, I would be concerned about how they would control all of this. With all of this going on, the police have enough to do without adding extra to their responsibilities. I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Thank you. And Ms. Van Sulen, what typically we do, and the rest of you will see this, is there may, probably not, but there might be a question from the council regarding this. So we'll open it up to that before you sit down if anybody has any questions on that. And if not, thank you. And then,
all right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And you have a copy of my property.
Thank you. And then typically, council, if it's okay, as there's a number of people, it might be good to resolve any questions that you might have regarding any input as we go. So is there any questions that you might have of our staff or need of clarification from that? Because and so I have one. And Mr. Brown, I wonder if you have somebody that, it seems to me that Gloria has handed us her neighborhood covenant. Could you just talk to us a little bit the difference between a neighborhood covenant and a citywide ordinance, and which supersedes another, or how changing the ordinance might affect a neighborhood covenant?
You bet, sir. So city ordinances, and of course as authorized by state statute, would, to make the short answer and the description of that situation, would supersede and take place over the normal neighborhood CC&Rs if they were in conflict. Now, the purpose of subdivision CC&Rs, neighborhood CC&Rs, that sort of thing, is, as the fine lady pointed out, to better the living conditions, or do so in a way that is detailed to the desires of both the developer and the residents of a neighborhood or subdivision that was built originally. But if there were a conflict between the two of them, then city ordinance would take precedence.
Okay, thank you. No other questions. We'll move to our next one, which is Gerald Everett.
I'm Gerald Everett, and I live in Layton. And I saw your article in the newspaper, and I came down because I wanted to share with you a success story. I approached Layton City Council probably 5-6 years ago. I did so because a school teacher of my daughter's gave us an opportunity to share in that experience, and she brought home a couple of chicks. And not knowing that it wasn't okay, we continued to raise those chickens. We bought others, we lost some, we dealt with raccoons, we did all of that. And I got to tell you that at some point in time, we had a code enforcement individual come to my house and say, "Did you know that you're not allowed to have those? This is not a farm." And I said, "I realize that." I said, the problem was I had a rooster. And that rooster, doggone him, he would crow at 4 a.m. when my neighbor would start his Harley to go to work. I don't think there was any other reason why that rooster crowed at 4 a.m. other than for the fact that that Harley was going. But I complied. I got rid of the rooster. I came to the city council meeting just like I am today, and I passed around a box, because it really isn't about chickens, it's about eggs. And those eggs, I can provide each one of you with eggs, and you will not buy eggs from the grocery store after you've raised your own. I promise you that. I've had dozens of people say, "I can't believe there's this much difference," but there is. And I have to tell you that I live on the east side of Layton, east side of Highway 89. Our lots are relatively large in size. We're right up against the mountains. One of the things that people are concerned about is rodents. Well, my property faces a wooded area. I have rodents whether I had chickens or whether I don't have chickens. But the difference is, because I have chickens, I deal with the rodents. I deal with the raccoons. Davis County Animal Control provides me with a trap, or I buy a trap. If I trap a raccoon, I call them, they come out, they euthanize it. I don't know how many of you know, but raccoons are really not indigenous to Utah. And if you take them from Layton up to the top of Monte Cristo, he'll be back in your backyard in 2 weeks. It's just the way that animal is. I really think that those people who have chickens will do a better job of taking care of the mice and the rats, because they will trap them, they will set baits out, they will take care of the situation. I hear a person comment relative to the smell. Well, I can tell you that Layton City allows me to have 6 hens, no roosters. I have those 6 hens, and I got to tell you that I keep my coops clean. And the reason why I keep my coops clean is because all the friends that I have that raise vegetables are all the time bringing me buckets, because you know what they want? Chicken shit. It's the best fertilizer around. It truly is. I mean, I have a friend of mine that lives in Heber that has a greenhouse. Every year, 6, 7, 8 buckets of chicken manure go to his greenhouse. And I got to tell you that I don't believe there's an issue with smell, and I don't believe there's an issue with sound. Do my chickens cluck? Yes, they do. But it's not like having a rooster. So as long as you limit the number of chickens that are available on a piece of property, you determine the property size, you can do like Layton City and make sure that those properties are inspected so that the coops are clean, whatever you want to do. But I think that the people who asked for you to change your ordinance and allow chickens were right spot on. And I got to tell you, you can talk about living in the city, but I can tell you your nearest neighbor, Salt Lake City, allows residential chickens. Layton, residential chickens. Ogden, residential chickens. All over this Wasatch Front are allowed residential chickens. And I encourage this city council to take a step forward for your community and for your neighbors and allow them to have residential chickens. Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Everyone's going to have their chance to speak. So thank you. Any questions for Mr. Everett?
And I left my phone number. I'd be more than happy to talk to you at any point in time.
Thank you. Okay. David Park.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, gentlemen, ladies. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm out of my comfort zone right now. I'm speaking in support of it, mostly for economic reasons. My wife's disabled, and we actually fell through all the cracks. Adult Protective Services says I have to be her caregiver, or we have to get a full-time CNA, and we can't afford either. So I basically am not allowed to work outside the home. And the industries that are available for me to work from home are pretty much finished. Sorry. Our income is pretty much below $2,000 a month, and it's fixed. We can't do anything to raise it. I've tried literally everything. I even called some social workers to see if there's anything they can do to help, and I even stumped them. They said that I've done everything I can. And the reason why I'm urging this is because we really need some relief here. I would also urge the members of the Planning Commission to also consider rabbits. The chickens are good. We've had them before, but yes, they do have an odor. They do attract rodents and that. But rabbits don't have that. Rabbits don't have the odor. Their manure is very good. It can be run right into the soil. No stench. And they can thrive in an 8-foot by 3-foot by 6-foot hutch. And they don't make any noise at all. I mean, seriously quiet. And they're also cheaper to feed. We just have to give them some hay, some grass, some dandelions, and and some garden scraps. I mean, no meat, no proteins, and they take care of that themselves, so rodents aren't really attracted to it. And 1 male and 3 female for a breeding stock would produce about enough meat per year as a beef cow. And that would help take care of our family a lot better. And I think both would actually help us because we can, well, basically it's just to feed our family. Food prices are going up. We only get $380 in food stamps and that. And I don't know if anybody here has used them, but it is embarrassing. It really is. And we would prefer to be more self-reliant. We don't want to be asking the state for any more. We actually would like to ask for less from everybody. We'd like to do a lot more ourselves. So yeah, I'd like to support it. And if there's concern that this whole thing might get out of control, everybody would have them. And I've heard from health department that disease might become rampant. Well, if you want to link that with approval for services from the Division of Services for People with Disabilities, just limit it to people who really have fallen through the cracks, I mean, that would be fine. But if you do require licensing and other things, though, just please keep the costs down so we can afford it. Yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Park, this time? Thank you. Okay, I get a second crack at it. Pete Trebish.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Pete Trebish. On the north edge of West Valley City, it's Karen's district. I'm here to basically object to the passage of this ordinance. I myself have lived in North Dakota on a farm that contained dairy and chickens, and to the people here that have odor, yeah, there's odor. Okay, West Valley City has 135,000 people approximately, and the Salt Lake Valley has 1.1 million. West Valley City can't control the songbirds that come chirping at 4 a.m., but they can certainly control the chickens that may cluck or crow at 4 a.m. West Valley is in the middle of an urban area, and there's very little area in West Valley remaining for build out or anything like that. I'm just saying that Little House on the Prairie does not exist anymore in West Valley City. So eggs can be purchased in any store. Organic eggs can be purchased anywhere. Farm fresh eggs can be purchased. Look in the back of the 50 nickel anywhere, or any other kind of periodical that's out there. My main concern is that there's no health backup. Processed eggs are processed in terms of salmonella poisoning that may exist on the exterior of those eggs. And if these eggs are given away or sold or whatever, what's the recourse of that person who contracts salmonella? I mean, who are they going to go after? The person that sold them the eggs? What if they, it's basically the deep pocket theory, because West Valley is immune most likely from any kind of lawsuit and passage of this ordinance. So, and that's, primarily that's, and selling should not be a financial endeavor for any person that has it. It should all be simply given away if you do pass it, but I adamantly oppose this ordinance.
Thank you. Just for clarification on that, this ordinance does not include commercial enterprises of chickens at all.
No, that's correct, sir.
Okay, let's move on. And Irene Jensen.
Hi, I'm 19 years in West Valley. I'm a resident. And I was born and raised on a farm. And we had chickens, so I'm not opposed to chickens. I like chickens and I like eggs. But when I lived on the farm with my family, the chicken coop was the furthest away. Reason for that, the stench. And people have failed to state that they carry bugs. They carry a lot of bugs. But I have a quick story to tell you. I live on 4100 South, 60th West, and our houses have fences, and our fences are next door neighbors' yards. And this one gentleman built a shed not too far from my beautiful patio. And I asked him what he was doing. He said, oh, he's building a little shed it was quite a big shed, but he was building it for his dogs, 2 Chihuahuas and another small dog, and I questioned that. Well, I was gardening one day, and all of a sudden I started to smell the stench. And I thought, wow, that really reeks nasty. I thought maybe somebody was fertilizing or something, and went in the house. I couldn't stand it. Then we invited guests and my family from out of town to our beautiful, nice little patio. Well, as we began to eat our hamburgers, the wind kind of blew and the stench started to smell horrible. We could not enjoy our property. That was an infringement, I believe, on our property. And so I checked over and I saw that there was not only chickens, not only did he have turkeys, not only did he have rabbits, and I found that the rabbits, one of them got loose and it made a tunnel underneath my garden. So rabbits are not that great if you can't take care of them. And so what I began to do is I said, you can't do that, and you can't build that a chicken coop close to our wall. Why didn't you, if you're going to have chickens, why didn't you build it next to your bedroom or next to your back door? They never do that. They build them close to their neighbors' backyards. Why? Because they don't want to smell it either. And I have another concern. I did call the police a couple of times, and they couldn't come out because they were very busy. Now, we have this problem. A lot of people are going to be calling. The second thing is, it says here, chicken as household pets. I don't eat my household pets. I'm sorry, but I don't. So I believe, and I am not for chickens in my backyard. I think that's an infringement of my backyard as well. So I'm pretty opposed to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Farr.
Yeah, I'm Barry Farr. I've lived in West Valley for 22 years. I'm here to lobby for getting our rights and our freedoms back. We have people that came here to learn the language and live in a country that's free. And my dad told me if you work hard and be an honest person that you'll have your freedoms, but then you get into the real world and find out that you got government wanting to take all your rights away and won't let you be an adult, and it seems the laws are wrong when you limit how many animals we can have. You should punish someone that can't handle the freedom, not assume they can't and limit them. You get your driver's license, and if you get too many tickets, you can't have that privilege any longer. So if somebody can't clean out their pen, it's about poor ownership. If somebody can't clean out their pen and keep it clean, then they lose that privilege. If somebody can't handle having 4 dogs because they're running at large, then they lose that privilege. But if they can, then they deserve to have that privilege. And I'm here to lobby that we have 4 dogs, 4 cats, 4 of whatever. And I know there's sheer physics that say you can't have 100 horses on a 1/4 acre. But we still should be allowed to have our freedom, and I want to see us have 4 dogs, 4 cats, and chickens if somebody wants. I believe in trusting our neighbors to do what's right, and if they can't, and I can't talk to them and convince them to work within the neighborhood, then we call the authorities, and the authorities take care of it. That's how it should be done, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we can skip a couple and go down to Fred Cox. Oh, I'm sorry. You're the slower Eric Farr. Sorry, Mr. Cox.
Yeah, I saw this article in the newspaper in the Salt Lake Tribune. Very seldom do I quote anything out of the Salt Lake Tribune, but so I bought the paper tonight. And it pretty much makes the argument, just reporting on the problem here, concerning the problem with chickens, as though we didn't go through this a few years ago. The Planning Commission's already voted against it. Maybe they know what they're doing. I don't know who they are here, but maybe they know what they're doing. They already voted against it. The city staffers also said they recommend not having the chickens allowed within the city. City staffers, if you don't know who they are, they're the people in this city who actually do the work. They're out there every day. They see the communities, they see the houses, they see what the problems are, and they know what they're talking about. But when I talked to them, I couldn't repeat what they said verbatim, not one of them. Yeah, they're very strongly against it. They're the ones who understand what the problem is. And the problem is not somebody who takes care of chickens, the gentleman back there from Layton. The problem is the people who already have chickens, they haven't taken care of them, and now we're going to make it so that we have chickens, and they're going to be there, and we're going to have, what, search warrants to count them? How ridiculous is this going to get? We have proponents, the proponents of chickens say dogs and cats and other pets cause just as many problems, referring to the smell and the noise and so forth. So what's the solution? We add another layer of problems. That's just what we need in West Valley. Let's add another layer. I've lived next door to people who had chickens. I live in the same house I have for 20 years, and people who used to live there had chickens. So I don't talk by theory. I don't have a list of rules the chickens are going to march by and count their heads every day, 1, 2, 3, 4. All I have are the facts of having lived next door to them. You had kids running around their yard in barefoot or with shoes on who ran through the wet feces, went home, tracked it through their house. Their little brothers and sisters who were crawling on the floor ended up with diseases, their hair falling out. They're filthy animals. They don't belong in a city. When I tried to have a barbecue, the festering flies next door, by the tens of thousands that hover over there, immediately found out, oh, let's go next door to the barbecue. You know how humiliating it is to work all your life and have a place, and you try to have a barbecue, and you actually have to shut it down, invite everybody out, and go to a restaurant because the environment is so filthy. That's having chickens next door. This article talks about pitting neighbor against neighbor. Who is it that comes up with these amendments that pits neighbor against neighbor? What kind of government is this? And whether you see West Valley as a joke or a nightmare, a vast majority of us see West Valley City as our home. And it's our hope that you'll continue to honor and respect our way of life. But what we have is a vast majority of people who have moved to this city, they abide by the rules, and then we have a small minority who move in. Then after moving in, they want to change the rules. They want to change the rules the rest of us live by and impose their lifestyle to fit their own selfish motives. And that's all it is. We've gone over this before. I've talked about the other problems, bring up the other old notes. But we're sick and tired of it. This is a city. This isn't the Middle Ages.
Thank you. Okay, now Fred Cox. As I discovered my error is we have a Mr. Farr and a Mr. Farrer here. So now we've heard from both of them. Thank you.
My name is Fred Cox. I talked to my wife about chickens. She grew up in Sugar House, and there were chickens next door. Not a lot, probably 4, maybe 6. I'm not sure the exact number. But they never had any problems with them. They've had dogs next door. Sometimes the dogs next door were well taken care of and there weren't a problem. Sometimes they were not. There was a big smell. The chickens were typically a lot quieter than the dogs. Well, we've lived in West Valley for 25 years, and sometimes we've had chickens live next door to us. And some of them have ended up in our yard. It was a great way to meet our neighbors. We could knock on their door and say, your chicken's out, and they came and got it. I can tell you that those chickens, and I can't speak for all chickens, but those chickens were fine. We had less smell, less noise with those chickens than either the cats or the dogs in our neighborhood. So I think quantity is probably an issue. These are 6,800 square foot lots, so they're not really big. And so if they can handle 4 or 6 chickens in that small of a lot, at least some people can. So I'm not sure if you need to tweak your ordinance or not, but I'm here to say that chickens can live next door to you without causing problems. That doesn't mean that they will, and that doesn't mean that the dog living next door to you will create a problem either, because we've had dogs that we were either scared of or that the wind would blow the wrong direction and we knew that it was blowing the wrong direction, and that was a dog, that wasn't a chicken. But we've had chickens for a while living next door to us and we didn't have any problems. So I'm fine with changing the ordinance to allow them, providing there is some sort of balance. I'm sure you've got some sort of balance if somebody's not taking care of their dogs. What do you do if they're not taking care of their chickens? But I'm okay with chickens. Thanks.
Mr. Cox. Michaela Sanders.
We are not asking to have a business in a backyard. We're asking for some pets. We're not asking for 20, 30, or 40 chickens. That is insane, and that would create a smell. But having 2, 4 chickens in your backyard, they eat bugs. If you're a responsible pet owner, you will clean up after them, just like you would after your dog. One of our neighbors had a dog across the street. We could smell the dog because it was never cleaned up. That dog would bark 24/7. Chickens don't make noise like that. Roosters do. So I'm in full support of chickens, not roosters, but I do believe there need to be limits as far as how many. And hopefully people will be honest enough and responsible enough to clean up after them and to take care of them. I love them.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Markham.
Mike Markham, you guys have already heard my spew. I'm against chickens. People are quoting how long they've lived in West Valley. 19, 20 years. I've been here for 40. I moved into a residential subdivision without chickens. I'd like to keep it without chickens. Like I said 2 weeks ago, if people want chickens, there's places zoned for chickens. There's ERDA places out where you can raise chickens. I don't think we need chickens in the city. I'm sorry. Where do we draw the line? We had a gentleman now talking about rabbits. Maybe I want a goat. I like fresh goat's milk. When I lived in Magna, we had a family that raised goats, had goat's milk bread. Where do we draw the line? The gentleman talked about rabbits and how many they will feed. I hope he's not slaughtering these rabbits in his neighborhood, because that is against code. We need to draw a line on what kind of animals we're going to have in the city. My neighbors had 3 pit bulls that always wanted to come through the fence and eat me. Well, as soon as the gangbanger that owned him got out of prison, him and his wife packed up and moved, because I told the mother that owned the house what was going on. I think we need to control what we have in the city. Granted, dogs stink. Everything, if you don't take care of it, there's going to be people that take care of your chickens. And we're not going to have a stink. There's going to be people that don't take care of their chickens. And it's going to stink. I grew up on a farm in Murray. Chickens stink. And unfortunately, it's just like the previous lady said, they always build their chicken coops away from their bedroom window or away from their deck. My neighbor put his dog run right over against my bedroom, not against his, but he put it over against mine. If we're going to allow these people to have chickens, there's got to be some courtesy on their part to respect our rights as people that don't want them. They can't control the wind. Maybe they can, they believe they can control which way the wind's going to blow. It's just going to hover in their neighborhood, but it's going to move around. I've got a dog. I go out once a day with my little scooper, but sometimes my dog is so small they're tough to find. Looks like a brown crayon. Chickens are messy, they stink, and they bring rats in a chicken coop. So, whatever you guys want to do, but the ones of you that vote for it, I hope you're going to be the ones who go out and help clean the stink. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Markham. Anna Welch.
Thank you for the opportunity to share my opinion, which is I'm very much in favor of backyard chickens. My story is that about 6 years ago, I bought myself 3 chickens. I had no idea that we had an ordinance against them. I built my chickens a very fine house. My chickens free-ranged. I shared eggs with my neighbor, and then all of a sudden I had a neighbor dispute, and the neighbor turned vicious and kept reporting me to the point that my 5-year-old chickens, who I would have liked to have allowed them to pass a normal death, were in fact lost. My chickens never created a smell. Ask the neighbors who know me. I keep them clean. I take as good a care of them. I have a dog to the north of me that they never clean up after their dog until I do call and say, I can't be in my yard for the smell from my neighbor's yard. The idea that chickens attract rodents, I don't think they're going to attract any more rodents than the neighbor who has a bag of open dog food, or the neighbor who has an outside dog that puts out a bowl of food. Those are going to attract rodents too. People who feed wild birds in their backyard keep birdseed. That birdseed is just as likely to attract rodents as the feed for chickens. I really enjoyed the fresh eggs when I had them. I would like to have the opportunity to have chickens again of my very own. I would like to be able to stay in West Valley City again. The gentleman who came up from Layton said, every city around us, Draper, Salt Lake City, they all get to have backyard chickens. Do there need to be some kind of guidelines? Yes. We need to clean our chickens. We need to clean up after our dogs. But we also need the freedom of choice to be able to have chickens if we want them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes everybody that have signed up. Is there anyone else that has come to speak regarding this application today? Okay, you're over there. Let's start the furthest that I can't see in the corner, and then we'll work the way to my line of sight better. So just come to the microphone and state your name and address so we can have complete minutes to comply with state law.
Hi, my name is Tammy Wilson. I live at 2939 West, 3040 South. And both my husband and I were raised right here all of our lives. And to say that people come in and want change is wrong. We rode horses up 3100 South. My husband was raised on Redwood Road. And we would ride horses. We had cattle. We all had chickens as children. We had horses. And the change has been to deny it. And as far as the smell, you're going to have smell. If the chicken coop stinks, the yard already stinks. I'm sorry. It just depends on how people take care of things. And there is a lot of things, maybe some guidelines as to diatomaceous earth. Mint. Everybody loves the smell of aromas of mint. That's one of the things you can grow, put in the coop. But these are things that everybody needs to learn. Maybe a suggestion. And I understand there does need to be a limit. They are social birds, so 2 or 3, they need body heat to keep each other warm. Any more than 6, it would be a problem. But to keep it clean, that's a very easy thing to take care of, like with anything else. It just takes a few moments of your time. And I believe that's what I came to say, and appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and you have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, sir. And then I believe we have one more over here, there, a couple up here, and then the back. Okay, so we'll kind of go here to the middle and then to the back.
My name's Casey King, and I live not too far from the gal that spoke very first. and I have no chickens in my neighborhood around.
We do need an address for our records so we can comply with state
Thank you.
law.
It's 3607 South, Jane Circle.
Thank you.
And I find it funny because I too get very strong smells in my yard. And they're not dog, they're not chicken, they're the dump, they're the eggplant down the road. There are other things in the area. Smells are bound to happen in a large city like this. It's inevitable. So that being said, originally I came as a proponent for chickens, but now I'd like to propose that we don't have dogs in West Valley because I hate dogs, and I have my whole life, and I will not allow my children to play on the church lawn because it's disgusting and it's filthy because everybody in my neighborhood walks their dogs over there so they can do their duty. So I am a proponent of chickens. I have 4 children, and my children would absolutely adore to have those as pets. They are loving, they're fun, and they're enjoyable, and they're beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up to the front row here.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Tanya Gilmore, and I live at 6390 Gold Valley Court, which is in the Sunny Diamond Summit area. And I am for backyard chickens. I've lived in the city, and I have lived in rural areas. And when I have had chickens at this opportunity, they are both wonderful pets. They are affectionate, they're loving. They're great 4-H projects for your children to do, and that gets them involved in the community. It is a fact that a single chicken can biorecycle about 7 pounds of food residual in a month. So even if 2,000 households in an area had just 3 hens, and you don't need roosters for eggs, just 3 hens, it could divert 252 tons of waste from the landfill. So you're saving your community by helping with the trash. They are recyclers, so they're helpful in that way. They're great for gardens. I'm an avid gardener. They're perfect, like they've talked before, for fertilizing. They mulch for you already. They're digging for you already, so you don't have to worry about that. The huge companies that develop the eggs that we buy in the grocery stores abuse their chickens. It is an abuse that is taken. And I, for one, do not want to support that. I want to be able to know what's in my chicken and what my children are eating on their table every night when we have eggs. I have gone to the store and have priced the fact of organic eggs to, yes, you can get, especially during Easter time, you can get eggs for 99 cents from your local huge farm factory eggs. But if you want to get good free-range, pasture-range organic eggs that you know is healthy, you're up at $5, $6 a carton. It's expensive. And with this economy, it's very hard to live like that when you want your children to be healthy. Just a few facts about the eggs that you can get from your backyard chickens is that they're 1/3 less cholesterol, 1/4 less saturated fat, 2/3 more vitamin A, 2 times more omega-3 fatty acids, or which the fatty acids that you need for yourself, 3 times more vitamin E, 4 to 6 times more vitamin D, 7 more times beta-carotene, 50% more folic acid, 70% more vitamin B12, all good things for your body. We've come to rely heavily on outside resources, and I think as for the environment and food safety, animal welfare, and emergency preparedness, which I know Utah is huge for, that we must strive to be more self-reliant. And I think having the opportunity to have chickens in our backyard, and it doesn't have to be a huge flock that they have on farms that are 20 chickens. I would just like 2 to feed my, they give 2 to 3 eggs each chicken a week. And that's plenty for a family of 4. And it's easy to take care of. You won't have the smell that everybody talks about. It's hard. You get the noise, and you get the smell, and you get the rodents. They're not going to be any louder, the clucking hens, than a barking dog. I have a barking dog that lives next door to me, and I love my neighbor. So I'm not going to report my neighbor because he has a barking dog. Okay, but they are quieter than that. The smell, a small flock is not going to smell a huge amount. And the predators, well, yeah, chickens are food. So you're going to get some predators, but if you're in good maintenance, and there's lots of information out there for these people, good maintenance on keeping your coop clean, keeping the feed up at night, you're not going to have that problem. And even if you do, the gentleman in the back said there's ways to take care of it. So, like I said, there's tons of advice out there. You know, give the opportunity to have a class. I went to IFA today, and they had a class on backyard chickens, so that you could learn how to raise them and how to treat them right. So I once again am very for the backyard chickens, and I hope that you guys are for it as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there another hand on this front row here? Or got it covered? Okay.
My name is Claudia Diz, and I don't got my name on there, but at some time, could you let me speak, please?
Word to you right now.
Okay. I can do that. I'll get there in a minute. I live at 4134 South, 4900 West, and I have lived there for 50 years. And I'm against the chicken simply because Granger Hunter used to be a farm community. It is no longer a farm community. It is West Valley City, the second largest city in Utah. And I think we're making a great big mistake by having people with chicken. I think that if you decide that you're going to do that, you need to make those people have buy a permit, which will give you money to the city. And then they need to be monitored. And that's going to give ordinance department more work to do than they already have to do with some of the yards that they have around here. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Okay, kind of moving back there. Is anybody there?
Thank you for your time. My name is Josh Daniels. I live at 592 North, 550 East. That's actually in American Fork. I'm here today because I represent the Libertas Institute in Utah, which is a policy think tank dedicated to the principles of liberty. And so I'd just like to mention the discussion about the rules. There was some talk about the establishment and changing of rules, and so I might just draw your attention to the document there that's hanging behind the dais on the wall, which is the Declaration of Independence for our country. And when you think about the rules that have established the ways in which we live in our community, those are probably some of the fundamental ideas that have created the rules that we all live by. And one of the fundamental ideas in that document is the idea of liberty and the idea of property and the right that people have in their private property to use that private property for their own good, for their own industry, for their own benefit, for their own gain. And so people who own private property use their private property for a number of things to bring themselves enjoyment and happiness, to bring themselves gain. And so it was actually 150 years after that document and the establishment of our country that we decided to change the rules. It was in 1926 when the Supreme Court heard a case that upheld, for the first time, zoning regulations as legitimate for cities to do this. And it was a very close decision. It was one in which the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court actually originally was against zoning, felt like it was a violation of property rights, and then called the parties back to re-argue the case and switched his vote. That person was George, drawing a blank here, Sutherland, and he's from Utah, so kind of funny. But it was a very disputed decision. And when you think about the concept of zoning regulations, the theory behind zoning is that you say that certain activities are inherently a nuisance. And therefore, nuisance law is not enough to police that particular activity. We have to bar that activity entirely within a particular zone. I would propose to the council today that your nuisance laws that exist, the tradition, the common law tradition of nuisance, which goes back hundreds of years, is sufficient to deal with all the problems that have been mentioned. Mice, rats, rodents, smell, dirty, all of the things that have to do with obnoxious neighbors doing obnoxious things. There's lots of obnoxious things that people do on their property. Barking dogs, Harleys starting at 4 o'clock in the morning. The list goes on. And your nuisance laws that exist now police all of that. People can make complaints, and when something's a nuisance, regardless of whether it's permitted by the city or not, if it's a nuisance, it will be prohibited, because a nuisance violates the private property rights of the neighbor, as has been discussed. But those nuisance laws are sufficient to deal with the small problems that might arise from a few obnoxious people who are not responsible enough to have a handful of chickens. There's plenty of people just like him that own dogs and cats. So I would say that you should look to your nuisance laws first, and that the fundamental property interest of people to use their own property for gardening, to have household pets, to have a handful of chickens is a reasonable use and right that they should have in their private property. I also, unfortunately, think it's a shame that we have a needy family here in the community who has to come to municipal government and beg for the permission to use their own property for just basic subsistence, for some eggs, for some chickens. The men who signed that document on the wall would be appalled at the system that we have today, where we micromanage the way in which people use their private property. So for those fundamental issues, I think that the council should consider going back to the original state of affairs, which is liberty and private property rights. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Mr. Storgad, you've had your hand up.
Good evening. My name is Ralph Astorga. I live at 2942 West, 3100 South. I've only been out here for 45 years before it ever became a city. I remember when 2700 South was, you couldn't get over there, 2700 West, you couldn't get over to 21st South. I lived in Salt Lake City, grew up there. I moved out here to West Valley, which was at the time Granger, and it was a rural area for me, coming from Salt Lake City. And today, I listen to these people that are complaining about the smell. What are they going to do when we get a west wind and the Great Salt Lake comes over here? I mean, I'd like to find out, what are we going to do about that smell? Are we going to do something about shutting down the Great Salt Lake? What are we going to do with these, I call them shit plants? I mean, you get the odor from them. What are we going to do, shut down them? I mean, all I'm hearing about is the smell. And the lady brought up a good one, the dumps. Hell, when the Mormons first came here, the seagulls used to eat the crickets. Now they got the dumps. They don't eat crickets. They go there to the dumps. That's where all the food is. I mean, my good God, we're here, talking about the smell. Hell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, God, I don't like that smell. Dee's Hamburger, God, I don't like that smell. I mean, my good God, let the people here live their lives. We have neighbors that are always nosy, complaining. I mean, if we didn't complain, we wouldn't be Americans. We're land of the home and free of the blame. I mean, I'm sorry. I wasn't going to say anything, but it just really irritates me to listen to all the smell. Let people live. Thank you.
Thank you. So you guys always notice how the gentleman in the back with either the leather jacket on or the baby gets the last word in. And so with two more, sir, if we could have you come up.
Thank you. My name is Bert Dennis. I live at 3672 West, 4040 South here in West Valley. I have heard a lot of complaints tonight about noise and smell. My neighbor built a dog run right against my back fence, and we couldn't eat out on the patio. The smell would prohibit us. Finally, that dog has moved and we can relax there. But the noise from barking dogs, there are times when I'm in my backyard and we can't talk to each other for dogs barking on both sides of us. Now, I'm not proposing that we outlaw dogs, but I think that it's just as much a right to own the chickens as to own the barking dogs. And I think that the noise and the smell cannot be any more objectionable than what I put up with. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think he's found somebody to hold the baby.
Had to be someone.
You are, and no pressure, but
The best for last.
yeah.
Good evening. My name is Craig Dawson, 2979 South Hunter Canyon Drive in West Valley City. My son Samuel is with me, which I'm sure you all are aware that he's here tonight. He's the reason I'm here. We've heard a lot about the issues, pros and cons. I found out about this hearing just barely this afternoon and didn't have time to prepare. But that being said, I think the major issue is responsibility. And how are we going to teach responsibility to the next generation, excuse me, if we don't have the chance to do it now as parents? I'm for having backyard hens. I'd like to have the chance to teach my son. We have a small dog. Our neighbors have big dogs that are terrible. We tolerate each other. I think that's the point. If we never have the chance to teach responsibility, when will they ever learn? I don't want him growing up learning to play video games. I'd rather he grow up learning how to be a responsible citizen in our community. That's all I have to say. In addition to, you can look at the pros and cons, but I hope you give us a chance to live in our freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else that came to speak on this application? Okay, then, before I close this public hearing, I think it might be good. There might be some that have come to show support, did not speak, and this ordinance does cover a number of things just besides chickens, and nobody came to speak on the spiders part of it. So I guess spiders are a lot more popular than chickens, but since chickens was even though it's a small part of this ordinance, in my opinion, it's probably the most weighty things on your mind. Can we just get a show of hands of those of you that did come, that spoke or came to support allowing chickens as household pets? To raise your hands. Okay, and those of you that came and either spoke or to show support against allowing chickens as household pets, to raise your hands before us, please. Okay, thank you. So with that input, I hereby now close the public hearing, but I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here tonight. We'll have some hearty discussion, I'm sure. Tough decision by this council to try to figure out the best way to manage animals within our community, but I think the thing that is heartwarming, and I believe I speak for the rest of the council, is that when an issue comes up, that the people come to the council meeting and they express their opinions, their experiences, their thoughts, both maybe for it, maybe against it, maybe neutral, but that you came to participate in this democracy and this American experience that we have. And so I just want to commend you. I know some of you might have to leave, but thank you from this council for your input. You're all good Americans, and we appreciate seeing you here. And I hope we see you on other issues, and not this one, as they come up from time to time. So with that, council, public hearing is now closed, and this matter and subsequent action is now before you for discussion, for questions of our capable staff, for amendments, for a vote. So I'll be quiet and open the floor up to discussion. Mr. Bueller.
Thank you, Mr. Rushton. It's been kind of a long evening. I think that we ought to maybe throw chickens into every ordinance so we got more public participation. And I'm not personally invested in this issue with chickens. I love chicken. It's delicious. Love eggs. They're delicious too. I am in favor of pets. I've had all of my children have various different kinds of pets and try to teach them responsibility that way, and certainly ended up teaching my wife responsibility, and she helped try to teach the children responsibility. This was never a chicken ordinance. This was a spider ordinance, and I have it on a reliable source that the spiders are against the chickens. I feel that people have asked me, why are we talking about this again? It was up 3 or 4 years ago, and it was. And we have 4 new council members since 3 or 4 years ago. And why is it up again? Because we hear a lot about it in the community. Obviously, this is more important, for whatever reason, to our community than a lot of other things we do, buying dump trucks and lighting roads and buying police cars and whatever else that we do. And as I kept a tally here, of course, this isn't the reason that I would vote for anything, but we had 13 who spoke in favor of chickens, 6 that spoke against chickens, one that spoke against dogs, one that wanted more dogs, one that wanted more rabbits, and one that wanted no zoning at all. So obviously it's an important issue. It came up because as people brought up chickens to me over the last spring, last summer, I started, taking a close look at our ordinances. And our ordinance, I thought, was vague on many things with regard to animals, pets, agriculture, land use, and so forth. And I thought we ought to have a review of the ordinance entirely. And that review began months ago. A proposed ordinance was presented a couple of weeks ago. We didn't have a meeting last week for the caucus meeting, but a couple of weeks ago, and two of us, Mr. Rushton and I, were in Washington, D.C. on city business with our congressional delegation back then. And although I personally had some input, and I believe Mr. Rushton did, on some of the ordinance, which resulted in a revision prior to today, there may still be room for more discussion. I agree that the problem is with the people, it's not with the animals, whether we're looking at breeds of dogs or different animals. If they're not cared for, it's the person's problem, not the animal's problem. It's the person that's causing the nuisance. We want all animals to be safe and healthy and well cared for in our community. This is not an agricultural ordinance. It's not about business. It's not about, this doesn't exempt you from a business license if you're going to try to have a business. It's not about that at all. I believe that what has been presented to us is better than the previous ordinance. It's certainly clearer. It's more comprehensive. The ordinance does address things that cannot be pets, such as wild animals. I looked through there to see if it cross-referenced to other animals that are legal, not like wild animals, but probably should not be kept as pets, such as goats that was mentioned. I didn't see a cross-reference to that. There's discussion in our study meeting, the meeting before this meeting, which is at 4:30 every Tuesday afternoon, which is really our work meeting where most of these things are discussed, about adding provisions from the county ordinances to be more in line with what the county has done, including prohibition of crowing hens, addressing other fowl, and provisions for enforcement. And between meetings, and as this meeting started, I tried to annotate what might be added or included in this ordinance if we were to act on it and pass it tonight, but I was not able to comprehensively or do that to my satisfaction. What I don't want to do is, this issue came up because I thought we had an unclear and vague ordinance. I don't want to pass another unclear and vague ordinance. I want it to be something comprehensive, something that we can go forward with and not have to look at again in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years.
Thank you. Other comments? Mr. Vincent.
Thank you. This is one of those subjects that, like it's been mentioned, has come up numerous times over the years for the city council, and in the past they have determined that domestic fowl were not reasonable to have in a residential neighborhood. I have two sisters that have chickens. One lives in Riverton and one lives in Colorado. And they provide eggs to the family, and so I'm not anti-chicken. But I think that this ordinance for household pets is a separate issue from domestic fowl. And I believe, as we have examined in the past, a domestic fowl ordinance, that's where this ought to be addressed. And I don't believe it should be addressed as a household pet. But there ought to be a separate a separate domestic fowl ordinance that would address all of those issues. The way the fowl are taken care of, the way that the chicken coops are constructed, and the way that those things take place. And so, as much as I like the idea of cleaning up the ordinance, which needed to happen, I do not believe adding chickens to household pet definition is the correct place to have this. I think it needs to land in its own separate domestic fowl ordinance.
Other comments? Councilor Lang.
Well, one, when we first moved here 30 years ago, my sister, bless her, gave my children ducks, 2 hens, 2 mallards, and they did not fly away. They stayed for 10 years. They were good pets. They were clean. Nobody complained. Everybody knew we had them. It was back before we would have ever thought to even ask if there was an ordinance for or against them. Seeing the relationship with my kids and the ducks, they had babies every year. We had to find homes for them. They learned a lot. So as a pet, I do believe they do fit into a household pet. And I would like to see that it is tied to, if you have 2 dogs, 2 cats, you get 0 chickens. If you have 1 dog, 1 cat, you can have 2 chickens. And the limit of 4 is all pets. Now, your lizards and your snakes in your house, I don't know how you track that to have only 4. But I think we need to tie down the ordinance so that it, for my opinion, addresses it in that manner so that responsible pet owners can have fowl if they are the chickens or ducks if they would like them, but they need to have the same consequences you have if you have a barking dog or a biting dog, that if you are not responsible, that privilege is taken away and you are not allowed to have them anymore.
Thank you. Other comments? Councilmember
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This ordinance basically is, I think there's very much a responsibility. It's not about smell or other things. If you're not responsible, you don't have dog or cat, you still have a problem. So this ordinance basically is towards that way, and if people they don't have responsibility, and I think that just like Karen Land said, we can take away from that.
Comments, Councilman Nordfeld.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I've thought a lot about this issue, and it was an issue as I was campaigning last year that people would ask me about. To me, liberty is important, but along with that is the pursuit of happiness. And if the liberty of one neighbor prevents the pursuit of happiness of the other neighbor, then that's something that we should look at. Having said that, I really think that having 4 hens in the backyard can be done responsibly without affecting the pursuit of happiness of our neighbors. I think that this ordinance is not perfect, and that there will be some changes to it, but I think it's better than what we have now. And we have some residents who would like to have chickens, and we put them off for a long time, saying we were going to discuss this. So I would be in favor of passing this and tweaking it in the future to clean it up and bring it into compliance with what the county has.
Thank you. Back to Mr. Bueller.
Yes, and you know, all due respect, Mr. Northwell, I would not be in favor of planning on tweaking this. Tweaking takes a long time, requires additional study, additional input, additional writing. And that said, I would move that this matter be continued. We've received our public input, we've had our public hearing. I would like to continue the matter to our study session agenda in the coming weeks so that we can tweak it then and have it come back to the council meeting for a vote. I move that it be continued on those terms.
Okay, there is a live motion before the body. Do I hear a second?
I will second, but can we put a date specific that it comes back? Would 3 weeks be reasonable for staff to be able to, that would give us 3 study sessions?
Well, we could provide input in the meantime.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for us.
So 3 weeks would be April 15th? Does that work for you, maker of the motion?
It's tax day.
Some of us pay taxes.
Sure, study meeting April 15th, if that fits in with the agenda.
Well, I mean back to a public hearing, all the way polished to a public hearing.
Right, well, I don't know if we need another public hearing or take it through the planning commission again. My motion was just to continue our discussion, provide our input, and bring it back to discuss that at a study meeting so we could have a vote for next week. If we're going to vote the 15th, we could review this on the 8th at study meeting if that's soon enough.
Yes, that works.
That would be my motion. I don't know if that's your second.
No, that,
Okay, let me ask, if I may, for a moment, sir. Recorder had a question. You just asked him about the dates?
Okay, say the dates again. I heard the 15th, but I want to make sure.
Well, as of right now, we do not have a motion before us, so we're kind of back to the maker of the motion here. And so
my motion is to continue the matter for further study and discussion, and I'll amend that motion to include a date certain, the study meeting agenda on the 8th, and then back in the normal course of business come back into this meeting on the 15th. If that, I don't want to bump something really important off the agenda either. This
I
is
think
pretty
we're fine.
okay. That would be my motion.
okay. Second as
Okay.
motion made.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to continue this item for discussion at our April 8th study meeting and back to the council to continue this discussion on April 15th. Is there any discussion to that motion? For or against? Any other thoughts? I kind of held my piece on it because just trying to round things out, but to me, there's really the two issues of this, and the first one is which was the main crux of this issue, which was to clean up our animal ordinance, and I'm prepared to do that and make sure of that. And then to the comments made by Councilman Vincent, is I wonder if the disposition of this council is to continue the chicken discussion on the household pet route, which it is on, or to put it back on the track of a full-on domestic fowl ordinance, to which is what the rest of the whole cities that have an ordinance. I mean, we would be alone in having chickens as household pets ordinance. There are other communities that have chickens as domestic fowl that is appropriate in a city. And so I guess that would be, my question and concern to, continuing this. I'd be in favor of continuing it if we just want to go down the track of household pets. I would not be in favor of continuing it if we want to get down the road of domestic fowl, because to me that's a totally separate issue, and we could pass the otherwise good changes of cleaning up our ordinance by just making a quick amendment of erasing line F in definition 1 and line E in definition 2.
So the ordinance just would not address chickens?
Right.
Right.
Mr. Vincent.
And that's kind of where I was, that's what my position would be. I don't believe it belongs in the household pet definition, and so I would like to strike it from that. And I think the discussion ought to lead the direction that you just mentioned, the domestic fowl ordinance, which we already have. Now whether the new council, most of the new council wants to address that again, then I think that would be the appropriate place. But I don't believe that it belongs in the household pet section.
Anyone else care to comment on that? Okay then, so we'll call the question then to see about continuing this item to our April 8th and April 15th study meeting. And Ms. McKendrick, will you proceed with the roll call vote of each council member?
Mr. Vincent?
No.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Bueller?
Aye.
Mr. Hume?
Aye.
Mr. Nordfeld?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rushton?
Nay. So the ayes have it, 4-2. We will continue this item in our April 8th study meeting, and again back for formal action on the City Council April 15th. With that, and thank you all those that came, participated tonight, and drive careful. No, you're more than welcome to stay, because we have even a more difficult issue to discuss, which is the first of our, let's see, is it just five? There's 5 resolutions tonight. And City Manager Pyle, will you please introduce Resolution 1439 for us, please?
I will, thank you, sir. This resolution would allow for the appointment of Mr. Lars Nordfeld as a member of the West Valley City Historical Society for a term commencing March 25th and ending December 31st of this year.
Okay, council members? Any questions, comments?
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion. I think it would be great to have Lars Nordfeld on our Historical Society, so I move for approval of Resolution 1439.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 1439, ratifying the city manager's appointment of Lars Nordfeld to the West Valley City Historical Society. Any discussion to that motion? I just also want to add, my support and excitement to have Councilmember Nordfeld as a member of our West Valley City Historical Society. I think we as a city council recognize the importance that our citizen groups and committees play, and I think having Mr. Nordfeld there will help accelerate their efforts in recruiting new members and having a clear vision that we all share as a city. Seeing no other discussion to that, we'll call the question and ask all those in favor of approval to indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Okay. Resolution passes unanimously. We will now hear from our city manager in introducing Resolution 1440, please.
Thank you, sir. This resolution would approve a 5-year lease with AgriCredit Acceptance LLC. The purpose of this is to buy new golf carts at Stonebridge Golf Club. We would be buying 120 of those carts at the price of $117,030 of the lease cost.
Okay, council, do you have need of any information or clarification? Or if not, a motion would be in order on this item.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Vincent.
It seems that I don't like walking that long golf course over to Stonebridge. I move for approval of Resolution 1440.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 1440. The motion is now before the body, and is there any discussion to this motion? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the question and ask all those in favor of approving Resolution 1440, authorizing the execution of a lease agreement for the acceptance of new golf carts at Stonebridge, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that also passes unanimously. Mr. Pyle, we have Resolution 1441 that could use an introduction now.
Thank you, sir. This resolution would allow for some amendment to the professional services contract for the design and engineering and a couple of other minor related issues for the work that was done on the Pioneer Crossing Bridge of Jordan River. Must be getting tired. Forgot the name of the thing there for a sec. This would amount in changes to $19,460 coming out of the Capital Improvement Fund.
Okay, council members, what is your pleasure regarding Resolution 1441?
I would move for approval of 1441.
Thank you, Councilmember Lang. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Hugh. And we have a live motion before this body in order to approve amendment it's Resolution 1441, approving amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement for the Pioneer Crossing Bridge over the Jordan River. Is there any discussion to that motion? Mr. Bueller.
Thank you. I do have a question. This is the work that's already been done, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
That was brave of them.
Well, they knew at what great desire and urgency it was of the council to complete the project, and so I think they took it on pretty good faith that it would be okay. I should mention also as well that additional amount does fall within the original amount budgeted.
Thank you for that clarification. They know the 2 bolts to pull out of it to render the bridge useless. Any further discussion? Councilmember Vincent.
No, just a comment that the completion of the bridge has allowed for a great Eagle Scout project to happen over there, and we're appreciative of the scouts and the work that they do over there.
And hopefully many more to come along that area. And I guess just to note that the Historical Society And the city will be having a groundbreaking on that May 31st to coincide with the Get Into the River Day. So we look forward to the festivities on the bridge May 31st. Any other discussion to this motion? Okay, then we'll call the question and ask all those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? That resolution also passes unanimously. Mr. Pyle, we now have Resolution 1442 for consideration, please.
Thank you, sir. This would allow for an amendment to the development agreement with HWL Westridge LLC. You will remember this is the project over on 5600 West in which we were looking at some exterior changes, which also then resulted at great effort of the developer and bringing a good project back to us in some of the site plan as well as the actual building exteriors.
Council, the matter is now before you for any questions or clarifications you might have on this matter. If not, a motion would be in order. Councilman Vincent.
There's been a lot of discussion about this little piece of property up there and back and forth, and I think this new threeplex that they brought back for our mansion-style housing is a great improvement on what we had before. And so I would move for approval of Resolution 1442.
Second.
Okay, we have thank you, Councilmember Lang. We have a motion and a second before this body now. Is there any discussion to approving Resolution 1442, the execution of the amendment on the development agreement with HWL Westridge LLC? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the question and ask all those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, and thank you. We'll appreciate our staff working with developers on that, and look forward to seeing that corner of our city continue to develop. Now, the final item on our agenda is Resolution 1443, and we also have a corresponding agreement on our RDA, which will follow immediately following this meeting. Two similar items, but since the agreement is between the RDA and the city and the developer, that we'll be talking about this twice. So stay tuned for both meetings. But Mr. Pyle, do you want to give us an introduction on this resolution, please?
Yes, sir, you bet. Thank you. And this does concern the Jordan River Marketplace development and project, and there was quite a bit of commentary earlier, as you heard in the public comment section. The specific step before you tonight and resolution would approve the first 220,000 square feet of the Jordan River Marketplace development, and that's in accordance with the agreement to develop land that the council executed with the developer back some time ago. And approval of this step would allow them to then apply for conditional use permits, get plan review process in place, and proceed forward with their project.
Okay, Council, this resolution is now before you for your disposition of discussion requiring more information or motions for the body now. Councilmember Vincent.
I'll just make a few comments. I'm not ready to make a motion, but I think over the years, and being on the council now for 12 years, I've been through this process with. This is kind of the second time we've been through this process. We started with a previous direction, and then Ascent came on and has been working on this for quite a number of years. And so I've seen the evolution of this project, and I think as we saw when this came to us before, and we liked what we saw, told them to proceed. And as they've come back, I still like what I see. I like the project, and I like what I see. And I think now that they're allowing the commercial side of this to move forward, and perhaps that will maybe change the direction of the property where all the controversy was with the adjoining neighbors with the high-density housing. Maybe as this moves forward, that piece of property becomes more attractive for a different use. So I would just like to say that I like the concept, and I like what we see, and I do like the fact that they have decided to move forward with with the commercial side of this rather than the residential side of this, and putting that piece forward. So I like what I see. I do have some concerns. I know we've had continued discussions about the river and preservation of the river. And if this project was to move forward, I would certainly hope that everything to the north and east of Celebration Road would stay in a natural state or into a type of park setting that would preserve the riverside. But just make that comment.
Others discussion. Councilmember Lang.
So the proposal we saw in May is different from this one. I preferred it. It had more, I don't know, an international. To me, the reason was given for this one is it's more generic. Any restaurant can fit in it. It's not specific to Asian here, Hispanic here, Italian here, which to me just makes it more of a strip mall instead of a unique destiny. I'm a little concerned that it's restaurants that have leased, not any of the boutiques or the retail side of it that draws during the day, not just the restaurants that are maybe afternoon and evening. So I have a couple of concerns still at this stage of the development.
Thank you, Councilmember Bueller.
As a private project, this is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. As an RDA project, time was of the essence to make sense from a financial standpoint for the city. As an RDA project, this really needed to be completed or largely completed within the first 4 years. We extended it a year and have nothing built, and I just think that at this point it has expired as a financial project through the RDA. We have sold the property for too little, and we are not going to recoup the property if the project goes forward at this point and takes another however many months, even 6 months, to build out and be leased.
Councilmember Bueller. These guys, do you want me to go next or do this? I appreciate the comments of I think in some ways I agree with all things that have been said by the council this far. And so, I want to just try to boil this down to the simplest level, because I think a lot of what we've done with this project it's been art. It's been the art of this, it's been the art of attracting tenants, it's been the art of getting a good walkable layout, it's been the art of this and that. But art and beauty and that can be in the eye of the beholder. And so really my decision on this comes down to the pure fact science of it. And to where, to echo some of the comments that were made, I sat down with, a calculator and a bunch of the different agreements on this. And frankly, council members, the math isn't there. I mean, it's not, it's pretty glaring at how these numbers are, and then frankly they're somewhat scary. That if we were to continue to proceed past, there's time limits for a reason, and if we proceeded past this point, the numbers of city involvement and millions of dollars that will be lost and not recouped is frankly pretty shocking to me. And just doing the numbers recently on it, that if even all of this that is before us and in the fly-through and even down to my merry-go-round was put in next week or even next year, we're going to even fall short on RDA increment to get the purchase of the land sale back down, which was a very paltry $3 a square foot, to where when we bought this in 1998, it was $4 a square foot, and in 2009 it was appraised at almost $11 a square foot, to where I think any conservative estimation would be that it's closer to the $12.50 to $13 a square foot range. And so really it comes down, do I like the project? Yeah. I mean, if it was in our city, would it be horrible? No, it's got some nice things and some nice attributes. Would my grandma crawl through that camera and hit me in the face with a broom for investing for the city and the city RDA taking conservative estimates of $3.5 million to $4 million in subsidies and losses. I just as being our prime role as council members, and that's even if they can do everything they've said they can do. I mean, that's the most conservative, rosy estimates. Is we're still in this millions and millions of dollars, and our primary duty on the city council is to look after the fiduciary manner of the city and to get a return on our investment. And when you do the numbers, the investment, just the payoff isn't there. And if this was a project that came to us just fresh tomorrow and our team up in the RDA was to crunch the numbers, it's going to end up right in the garbage can. I mean, I think they would be embarrassed to even show us this. And so, love the project, love the area. I'm a big believer in trying to do something with the river, with the marketplace, but the price has to be right. I mean, for the investment of the city has to make it and be right. And I think Gundi was here, and she summed it up: is that when something's important, it takes time, and to where the time on this and for the city to recoup its investment has run out. It's time to figure out what the best course of action for the city going forward to get our financial investment that was made out of it. Councilman Midson.
A couple of questions, Corey, or Mayor Pro Tem Rushton. And I mean, you and Steve bring up some really good points, and it was it was the main reason why we denied the charter school, because it really didn't fit with the plan of an RDA and the payback of the RDA. I guess my question, and tonight's really, the study session, you mentioned this to me, and so I'm still trying to digest what you brought. Can you kind of, what would be a reasonable payback if we were to extend the RDA and those types of things? What in your estimation, what would need to happen as far as extending the RDA to make it be a viable project?
And I'm not the expert here, and so I would say that on some of the questions we do have very capable staff that can answer very specific questions. Just at the very basic fundamental level is at, and this anybody can do with their calculator on it, is that with the 5 years left on the tax increment, that we could recoup, if these plans that they brought forth to us were everything they say they are, and they can meet every deadline and everything, is that we're going to have $8 to $10 million in the ground in 2014 and another $10 million in the ground in 2015. That gives us total tax increment of $950,000, which is below the purchase sale of $3 a square foot, which is already a screaming deal. And so and I don't even know what the answer is on how we fill that gap from what when we don't even meet our goal of getting made whole for the property. But like I said, I think we have staff here that's more than capable to answer any specific questions, or you don't have to take my word for it, because you don't have to be Copernicus to realize that we bought this property for $4 a square foot. We're selling it for $3 a square foot. It's appraised at $12 a square foot. And so, it's basically $4 million. And the question is, are you getting $4 million worth of betterments and return on your investment for $4 million? And I'd submit, no. I mean, we put a target in the city for $600,000 of RDA money. And the return on the investment in that is substantially higher. And maybe I just have too high a standards for our RDA, but I don't think there's anything about not even being able to break even on a reduced price of land. It's to me not far out there. But I don't know if that's helpful at all.
Yeah.
I would make a comment and then make a motion. It's been a long time. Western City have been working very hard with the Ascent company, and I believe it's we try to do all our best and try to work alongside the Ascent company to make this one succeed. But I've been here 2 years, and first time I saw the Ascent company brought to us a charter school, and then it didn't work out, and then they brought us a apartment complex, a high density, and as it got opposed by a number of residents in that area, and now we have a plan, and they're thinking about they're gonna put some 220,000 square feet in this area. Also, they gave us some number of restaurants, but to me is all the number Corey Rustin just mentioned, and here we have the mall right here, just close to us here. We have multiple restaurants and stores around here, and if we put restaurant in that area, it wouldn't survive that much because the chance is very low. The reason because is they don't have an anchor to hold on to that area, and so we're concerned about this. So I'm going to make a motion for this one. Is I motion to deny resolution 14-43.
Okay, we have a motion before us. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to deny resolution 1443. Is there any further discussion to that motion?
I will just say thank you for bringing up the financial part, because it is our ultimate responsibility to make sure we make good decisions on behalf of the citizens. So thank you for that.
Councilman Benson.
And to that point, I think as we look throughout the city and look at our different RDAs that we have, I think we take great pride in being able to show the numbers that there is a return to the city and a return to all the other taxing entities in the future that have given their approval for the RDA, including Salt Lake County, the school districts, all those people who buy off on the RDAs, and we take great pride in making sure that when at the conclusion of the RDA that those different entities will see the investment returned. So I appreciate that as well.
Councilman Beeler. There are a certain number of people that talk to me and are opposed to the RDAs in every form, every nature. It's evil, you're favoring one business or entity over another, and so forth. And I've always been able to look them in the eye and explain how a little investment and a little delay of taxes is better for the city and brings business here and buildings and development. And I'm at the point now on this one where I couldn't look them in the eye and say that.
Any other comments? Good, I appreciate the discussion on this, and if there's nothing else, we'll call the question then, and Ms. McKendrick, we have a roll call vote.
Mr. Vincent?
Regretfully, I vote yea.
Mrs. Lane?
Aye.
Mr. Bueller?
Aye.
Mr. Hume?
Aye.
Mr. Birdfeld?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mercer?
Aye. Measure passes unanimously. And seeing item 10 now, any need for executive session?
I move that we hold an executive session to discuss the disposition of land following the RDA meeting.
Okay, we have a motion for that. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion to convene executive session immediately following our RDA meeting to discuss the disposition of real properties. Any discussion to that motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll do that. Now we could use a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
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 Okay, I will now call to order the special regular meeting of the West Valley City Redevelopment Agency, and the date's Tuesday, March 25th. It's about 5 after 9 o'clock. Roll call shows all members of this agency are present, minus Mr. Bigelow. And Mr. Pyle, as CEO of the redevelopment agency, would you please introduce Resolution 1401, please?
Yes, sir, thank you. 14-01 is the resolution, as you mentioned earlier, that corresponds with the item on the regular city council agenda for consideration of the 220,000 square feet of the Jordan River Marketplace development under the ADL.
Council members?
Mr. Chair, I move for denial of Resolution 14-01.
Board Member Bueller, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Board Member June. Any discussion of this resolution? And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Okay. Passes unanimously. Motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
This RDA body stands adjourned.